Good evening. Welcome to the first episode of Free Range Bible with Rachel. I am your hostess, Rachel. And I felt that now is the right time to begin this series of Bible study videos because you may have noticed that our country is on fire like a giant dumpster. There's a lot of people out there acting as if they know the will of God or whatever. And I just felt as if it would be helpful for us as a people to actually read from the Bible. Rather than starting at the beginning, I would like to begin tonight in 2 Samuel chapter 13. To set the background for you, at this point, King David is the king of Israel, and he has children and a dynasty. So we're basically in medias res with the David story. This happened sometime afterward. Avshalom, son of David, had a beautiful sister named Tamar. Side note, Tamar is the worst luck name in the entire Bible. Nothing good ever happens to anyone named Tamar in the Bible, and this story is no exception. Amnon, son of David, became infatuated with her. Right? Did you follow that? Avshalom, son of David, had a beautiful sister named Tamar, and Amnon, son of David, became infatuated with her. So this girl is his half-sister, essentially. Amnon was so distraught because of his half-sister Tamar that he became sick, for she was a virgin, and it seemed impossible to Amnon to do anything to her. Amnon had a friend named Yonadav, the son of David's brother Shema. Yonadav was a very clever man. Although, frankly, I feel like clever, it should really say evil, or maybe even crappy. Yonadav asked Amnon, "Why are you so dejected, O prince, morning after morning? Tell me." Amnon replied, "I am in love with Tamar, the sister of my brother Avshalom." Yonadav said to him, "Lie down in your bed and pretend you're sick. When your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Let my sister Tamar come and give me something to eat. Let her prepare the food in front of me so that I may look on, and let her serve it to me.'" Amnon lay down and pretended to be sick. The king, that's King David, came to see him, and Amnon said to the king, "Let my sister Tamar come and prepare a couple of cakes in front of me, and let her bring them to me." David sent a message to Tamar in the palace. "Please go to the house of your brother Amnon and prepare some food for him." Tamar went to the house of her brother Amnon, who was in bed. She took dough and kneaded it into cakes in front of him and cooked the cakes. She took the pan out and set out the food, but Amnon refused to eat and ordered everyone to withdraw. After everyone had withdrawn, Amnon said to Tamar, "Bring the food inside and feed me." Tamar took the cakes she had made and brought them to her brother inside. But when she served them to him, he caught hold of her and said to her, "Come lie with me, sister." But she said to him, "Don't, brother. Don't force me. Such things are not done in Israel. Don't do such a vile thing. Where will I carry my shame? And you will be like any of the scoundrels in Israel. Please, speak to the king. He will not refuse me to you." That last sentence is especially interesting. Right? Tamar is suggesting that she and Amnon could be married, which is a little creepy since they're related. But it suggests very clearly that Amnon doesn't need to have resort to violence here. He could act right and marry her. But he would not listen to her. He overpowered her and laid with her by force. Then Amnon felt a very great loathing for her. Indeed, his loathing for her was greater than the passion he had felt for her. He's a prince of a guy, isn't he? And Amnon said to her, "Get out." She pleaded with him, "Please don't commit this wrong. To send me away would be even worse than the first wrong you committed against me." Since he has taken possession of her body, in essence, he should maintain responsibility for it. He should be responsible for her forever now. But obviously, he doesn't have any intention in his mind of being a stand-up guy. That's not who this guy is. He would not listen to her. He summoned his young attendant and said, "Get that woman out of my presence and bar the door behind her." She was wearing an ornamented tunic, for maiden princesses were customarily dressed in such garments. His attendant took her outside and barred the door after her. Tamar put dust on her head and tore the ornamented tunic she was wearing. She put her hands on her head and walked away, screaming loudly as she went. Yeah, I bet she was screaming. Her brother Avshalom said to her, "Was it your brother Amnon who did this to you?" "For the present, sister, keep quiet about it. He is your brother. Don't brood over the matter." And Tamar remained in her brother Absalom's house, forlorn. When King David heard about all this, he was greatly upset. He was upset, but he didn't do anything. I gotta say, this isn't really King David's brightest moment in his story. Avshalom didn't utter a word to Amnon, good or bad. But Avshalom hated Amnon because he had violated his sister Tamar. 2 years later, when Avshalom was having his flocks sheared at Baal Hazor near Ephraim, Avshalom invited all the king's sons. And Avshalom came to the king and said, "Your servant," meaning himself, "your servant is having his flocks sheared. Would your majesty and your retinue accompany your servant?" But the king answered Avshalom, "No, my son. We must not all come, or we'll be a burden to you." He urged him, but he would not go. And so Avshalom said goodbye to him. Thereupon, Avshalom said, "In that case, let my brother Amnon come with us." To which the king replied, "He shall not go with you." But Avshalom urged him, and he sent with him Amnon and all the other princes. You can tell that David didn't want to go with Avshalom, and he didn't want to send Amnon either. And he wasn't wrong to be a little bit wary, as you shall see. Now Avshalom gave his attendants these orders: "Watch, and when Amnon is merry with wine, and I tell you to strike down Amnon, kill him. Don't be afraid, for it is I who give you the order. Act with determination like brave men." Avshalom's attendants did to Amnon as Avshalom had ordered. Whereupon all the other princes mounted their mules and fled. I mean, you got to picture the scene, right? It's like 20 drunk fraternity brothers. And when they're finally drunk enough, the bartender kills one of them. And then everybody else gets in their Camaro and drunk drives out of there. They were still on the road when a rumor reached David that Avshalom had killed all the princes and that not one of them had survived. That's some fast gossip there. The guys are still running away and David has already heard about it. Wow. At this, David rent his garment and lay down on the ground, and all his courtiers stood by with their clothing torn. But Yonadav, the son of David's brother Shema, remember that jackass? Yonadav said, "My lord must not think that all the young princes have been killed. Only Amnon is dead, for this has been decided by Avshalom ever since his sister Tamar was violated. So, my lord, the king must not think for a moment that all the princes are dead. Amnon alone is dead." Meanwhile, Avshalom had fled. The watchman on duty looked up and saw a large crowd coming from the road to his rear from the side of the hill. Yonadav said to the king, "See, the princes have come. It is just as your servant has said." And as he finished speaking, the princes came in and broke into weeping, and David and all his courtiers wept bitterly too. Avshalom had fled, and he came to Talmai, son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And King David mourned over his son a long time. Avshalom, who had fled to Geshur, remained there 3 years. And King David was pining away for Avshalom, for he had gotten over Amnon's death. Isn't that a cheerful story? Doesn't that make you feel full of divine wisdom and light? No, it doesn't. I'll just go ahead and answer my own question. No, it's a scary, sad, terrible story. It's a real story. It's got that flavor of something really awful that really happened. I particularly like the character of Yonadav, who is actually the cause of the whole problem, right? He's like Jafar from Aladdin, right? He's like plotting. He's the one who, he doesn't say to Amnon, "Boy, you need to get yourself together and let this go." He says, "Oh, let's make a plot here," right? He facilitates and enables Amnon's terrible behavior, and then clearly has known all along that Avshalom is planning to kill him, does nothing to prevent it, doesn't bother to mention to anyone that this awful thing is about to happen, even more awful than what just happened before. So, A, he does nothing to protect Tamar, but in fact facilitates the ruination of her life. B, he does nothing then to protect Amnon from the wrath of Avshalom. And I assume eventually he's also going to do nothing to prevent Avshalom from the bad end that he eventually comes to as well. So basically, Yonadav, son of David's brother Shema, is complete human trash. but so is Amnon. And eventually, down the road, Avshalom's going to turn out to be trash too. And King David is weak when it comes to his children, which is understandable because who among us is not weak when it comes to his children? So I think that's enough for one night. I hope you enjoyed this little episode from the Bible, 2 Samuel chapter 13, which would definitely have been banned in multiple states of the nation, containing as it does outright rape and murder. There is absolutely nothing morally uplifting about this tale, and in fact, having read it, you might even develop bad ideas in your heart. For reference, the version of the Bible I am reading is the Jewish Theological Seminary translation of the Bible. It is the most accurate one and also the most legible. And without further ado, I'm going to bring this to a halt, and I will see you again very soon because the Bible is a big book and we've got a lot of ground to cover.